Hi, I'm Mo Volans, and in this course we're going to be looking at Bitwig and more specifically the effects and processes that Bitwig offers. But before we do that, let's take a little look at the great Bitwig interface. And as you can see, there's loads of colour and loads of data. There's in fact loads of stuff packed into this single screen, which can be both a blessing and a curse at the same time. Because obviously if you want to view everything at once, you can do. And if you've got a laptop or just one monitor, this can be great. But sometimes you just want to focus on a certain bit of data or a certain bit of your project, and you don't want all this stuff all over the screen. So what's the best way to maximize this workspace? And ultimately, how does this workspace and workflow work? Well, let's take a quick look at sort of the DNA of Bitwig's interface. We've really got three parts of the interface. We've got our header up here, which is the transport of data, the BPM, etc. Our toolbar, and then you've got all of your menus and everything up here. So the menus aren't where you'd expect them to be. They're not up here. They're actually built into the program. So that's where you're going to find all your help and your save menus and everything else. In the central area, you've pretty much got 90% of Bitwig's data. So you've got your arrange screens, and we'll get into that in a second. There's actually two different sequences here, and we've got our file views and browser over to the right here. And there's also a load of project views, and you can view your internal hard drive, and there's some settings. And to the left here, we've got our inspector, which shows you various data about the selected part or selected track. And it will also give you things like a fader so you can have quick access to your levels. And down the bottom, we've got our device area, which is going to be all your effects and all your instruments. And this is an area we're going to be concentrating on quite heavily throughout this course. So this is where we're going to be looking to find our virtual devices. And the third part of Bitwig's interface is the footer, so sort of the opposite to the header, and it's right down here at the bottom. And across the bottom here, you've really got view modes, and you can hide and show different areas, and we're going to look at that in a second. One of the most important parts of the footer is these three shortcuts here. It says arrange, mix, and edit. We're currently in the arrange sort of setup, and then there's a mix setup, which gives you the mixer. And then there's an edit setup, which gives you a dedicated edit mode for piano roll style editing for the selected part that you're on. So if you select a different part and you click on edit, you're going to get the edit window for that part. You can also double click on the part as well and get an edit window come up across the bottom. And this brings us nicely to these little buttons to the right. In any of these areas, or at least in some of them, so the arrange and mix area, for example, you can show and hide three different things: the edit window, the automation edit window, and the device panel. It will show you any one of these at any one time. And if you go back to the arrange, you can see we can also show and hide the mixer. And this can be expanded to show the plugins within the mixer as well. So we can have the mixer, the devices, the automation edit, or our part edit. And if you click them again, it's going to hide that area. Now, not only can we just hide these shortcuts and hide these areas, but we can also hide the inspector. We can hide the file area by clicking on the currently selected file browsing mode on the bottom right here on the footer. We can also change the arrange window mode by clicking on this little button down at the bottom left. So this will show us our clip view, and this will show us a linear arrangement window. And if we click on this little button to the right, you can actually half the height of the tracks. So you can get much more space to view something like the mixer across the bottom. So this is really dynamic and really customizable. So if you wanted to view your devices nice and clearly with your arrangement, which is something we're going to be doing quite a bit throughout the course, this would be the way to do it. You'd click on arrange, you'd half the track height, you'd go on linear view, and then you'd click on the devices shortcut. And you can pretty much set up these however you want. So if you quickly want to view your files and you want to shut this down and you want to change to mix mode, you can do this within 2 or 3 clicks and can completely change the way that you're viewing the data that's coming out of Bitwig at any one time. So hopefully this has given you a really nice, quick overview into the DNA of Bitwig's environment and the way that you can view data and different forms of data within it. And we're going to move on now and start to look at Bitwig's built-in effects, how we can access those and how we can load them.